All right, yo, so welcome to my version of a Madden realistic simulation. So, very first thing is I simmed through the preseason for the most part. I did my training camp, I signed free agents, I made preseason cuts. I'm going with the Falcons, they are the home team. Don't talk shit. Anybody says a thing about 28-3 will be banned, and I don't care how bad I need subscribers, they will be gone. Okay, cool. So, very first thing we're gonna go around here and look at is league settings, and this is a combination of a bunch of YouTubers that I've seen. Unfortunately, I don't remember all of their names, but um, I want to go ahead and just look at a couple of things here, and also give shouts to everybody too who makes these. Um, so yeah, let's get into what I believe is going to be the closest thing to an actual simulation. Um, NFL season franchise. So the very first thing I'm going to do, and my homeboy that's in here, Mike, is going to hate when I do this. I'm going to jack this up to 15 minutes. And I'm going to turn this accelerated clock on. I'm going to go down to 12. I may take it to 11. Just depends. The point of this is I do not want to be able to make multiple audibles at the line of scrimmage. That's not realistic. Nobody's Omaha and Peyton Manning style like that at the line of scrimmage in real life. Most quarterbacks have a check that they go to. No one's calling their writing their own play up just from scratch. Everybody is going to be running those stock plays and they have a check. Typically, it's a run, it's a pass, or maybe an RPO, depending on the setup, depending on the quarterback's strength as well. So I'm gonna go here for that. Offensive play cooldown. Now this is just for me and everybody else too. This is to prevent people from just spamming the same play. And I think 6 is a little, especially with 15 minutes. I think that's a little high. Um, I'm sorry, a little low. So I'm gonna jack this up to 10 actually. I'm gonna limit it to 4 plays that you can call a play as opposed to 3. 15 minutes is a long game. On defense, I'm gonna take this up to 5, and I'm gonna jack this down to about 4 because most defenses run the same thing for the most part. It's just depending on if quarterbacks and offensive coordinators can adjust. Sometimes they can disguise it, but you got the Legion of Boom. Everybody knew what they were doing. And the reason I know that is because we had their coach right after it, Dan Quinn. He was a defensive coordinator. They were in a cover 3 shell, and they relied on the D line for pressure every time. They rarely sent pressure. Rarely. They relied on the D line for pressure, and they got it. They also had 3 borderline Hall of Famers in that secondary. So they could do that. They had a Bobby Wagner in the middle. They had Michael Bennett, Bruce Irvin, Frank Clark for a couple years. Had a bunch of people who could rush the passer and actually get pressure on the quarterback. Bobby Wagner also was one of the ones that made it go. KJ Wright, shout out to him. He was one as well. He was pretty damn good. A good a good co-star or Robin, I should say, to Batman and Bobby Wagner. So they played well together, so it worked for them. So they mainly just ran that same cover 3 shell. Maybe they switched it up every now and then, but that's why I'm gonna keep this here. Defensive play call limit. I'm gonna just change that. I'll jack this up to about 6. See how that goes. I feel good about that one. I'm gonna keep the home field advantage on, um, because that actually does exist. That exists big time in the NFL. Seattle, Kansas City, Philly. Those actual sports towns work. That is a real thing. So we'll come right over here. Next thing, team settings, setting experience, weekly training. Keep that to manual. This reordering the depth chart, I'm actually going to do this manually myself because they be reordering it at the wrong time sometimes, like right before a game. And I don't think that's what I want. Manage practice reps. I want this to be an actual simulation, so I'm going to do this myself. And if my players are gassed, that's on me. So definitely don't want them to auto progress players. I need all the tutorials I can get sometimes. So we're gonna keep ball hawk, heat seeker, switch assist, keep all that on. Trade deadline, of course. Trade difficulty. So they have 5 levels of this now. Very easy, which is what it felt like all the time. But I think normal now is the new easy. So I'm actually gonna take this up to very hard. There's no way else. The amount of robbery I used to get away with from getting these players from the CPU was crazy. Crazy. We're gonna have a hard salary cap. Free agent motivation impact. Determines how much motivation is affect player signing. Raising impact makes it easier to sign. Interest player more difficult to sign players with lower interest. I mean, I'll keep that. I'm not gonna put it on very high. I'll keep that on high for right now. Definitely want to do this. Staff talent costs. Yes, I want to keep. I'm not even gonna put it on the slowest. I'll keep it on slower though. Slow is pretty painful too. I have 20 points right now, and I have nothing. I can't even activate Cal Pitts if I wanted to because I don't have enough. Injuries, yes. Practice injuries, yes. Progressive fatigue, yes. And if you run them boys into the ground every practice, they will show it over the course of the season. No one's practicing in full pads in December anyway. So let's just be real. All of this right here, we're not doing the instant starter. That doesn't. All right. So what I did was I increased the number of star players and superstar players a little bit too. I made the mistake in one of them by increasing the number or decreasing the number of X Factor players, and it took X Factors off some people who didn't deserve it. So I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. Ability to edit controls. I really need to set this to just me, but I don't know. There's only 2 of us in here, so um, field roster. So that's the career settings or franchise settings. We're gonna get into the XP sliders next, and these are my XP sliders, so I'm gonna keep it how I want to. I jacked this shit up to 152 and I jacked this up to 182, and you're going to see why I did that for these guys respectfully. Madden has added something new, and I'm a fan of it. Nobody uses a fullback, so I want to show them some love. Um, all of these guys as well. Defensive end, defensive tackle, same thing. I hate getting like 15 to 17 sacks a season and nothing good coming from it. Still at 81, and they only went up 4 points throughout the whole season. That shit gotta stop. So, same thing for Mike linebackers, outside linebackers, more so for the rush guys. Cornerbacks, free safeties, I just kind of left that alone for right now. Um, Punters and kickers, yeah, I definitely did that because that's disrespectful to them. This is what they added: age, progression, XP rate, and you read it. It says exactly what it is. Player skills improve as they gain experience. Reduce the percentage to slow XP progression. Increase the rate to speed up progression. So if they're 20 years old, you're gonna get 120% of the progression, which is really good. Actually, that probably should be a little higher. So I'm gonna just do this. So it's really not a lot of 20-year-olds in here, but like if they're 21, 22, 23 years old, this is the prime years. Right around 22, 23, 24. These are the prime years for NFL players. 24, right around this area, 22 to 25. After that, if you've been good for a while, especially a running back, you start to the NFL lifestyle starts to wear on you for any position except quarterback. So after this, starts to go down a little bit. So until 28, yeah, 8, 7, 6 years in the NFL, after getting beat on, yeah, you're gonna start to show a little wear and tear, injuries, all that. 29, you're old as hell in the NFL. 30, don't get me started. Right here, 32, 33, you got gray hairs, right? That's why this is all down here. So you're not progressing much after these years at all. So somebody can have a breakout year still at 28, 29, or actually at 27, 28, and it'll show still, especially at 27, 28 maybe, but after that I'm just say it's gonna fall off, especially at 30. So that is how I did it, and then it let me do it by position for the regression. quarterbacks do not regress that much per age, and this is by age. This is not by how bad they play. This is by age. Quarterbacks do not regress that. Their arm does not die. Look at Tom Brady. Look at Aaron Rodgers. These guys set the standard. Even Drew Brees, his arm was never that strong, but it didn't turn into a complete noodle until the last 2 to 3 years of his career. Um, so it's a while. They last a while. Regression rate for halfbacks, you see that shit's up at 150. As in, when they fall off and when they age terribly. So as you see, as you can see, 150. I even go 160 out of 200. When they regress horribly, which is true. They do not age well. Um, and you can kind of see it here. So halfback, they're gonna start to regress, especially if they've been good for a while, right around 25 and 26 a little bit, unless they have a really good year. So again, I'll adjust this as I see fit, but I feel really good about these sliders, especially what Madden decided to add. I really do like it. I want to kind of fool around and mess with these things too. Tight ends, another one. They tend to hold their value for the most part. Quarterbacks definitely hold their value like a house. Halfbacks, they what's the word? They hold their value like a new car holds its value when you buy it off the lot. And I sell cars, so I can say that. Tight ends, I really don't see them. Travis Kelce is one that has been great for a while, so he's kind of who I have in my mind right now. They don't really fall off that bad. Receivers, not that bad either for the most part. Um, Julio played for a long time. Um, some other ones I can try to think of. Um, Marshall played well for a long time. It happens. It does not happen that much for them many times for halfbacks. So those are just a couple that I can name for wide receivers. There's really only two that I can think of, really one and a half, that played well up until their late 20s and 30s. AP all day. LaDainian Thompson started to fall off right around 2007. And that was right after his MVP year, if I'm not mistaken. He had 30-some touchdowns. So, yeah. I don't know if you all remember Larry Johnson for the Chiefs. They ran that man into the ground. I think he had like 500 touches in his, like 2006 or 2007, one of those years. And it was directly after he had a year where he had like 400 carries or 300 carries or something like that. They ran that man to the ground. So, yeah, that regression is going to hit him because you're not going to be that well. So, offensive linemen, I don't know if you all know, there's some old ass offensive linemen in the league, and they're kind of like quarterbacks. They don't age bad at all. They age pretty damn well, so they don't regress that much. Defensive ends, defensive tackles, not so much as long as they're still progressing, or as long as they're still having decent seasons. Mike backers probably so because they're hitting a lot, so they got that running back thing to them too. So I'm probably gonna bump that up to 130. Defensive ends, not as bad. I'm gonna take that down to 90 because there are still some really good edge rushers late. Fletcher Cox is still playing at a decent level. He's old. Aaron Donald, for God's sakes, is still Aaron Donald. Cornerbacks. I'm gonna actually bump this up a little bit because they are on defense, especially the safeties. They will fall off quickly. Kickers and punters, same thing. Quarterbacks. More than Anderson, Gary Anderson, you have kickers with gray hairs, no hairs. They just out here chilling. Age regression rate, and you can see player skills decrease as they age over time. Reduce the rate to slow regression, increase the rate to speed up regression. So as you can see, at 35 plus years, your ass is getting old. 34, you're getting old. Right at 30, you start to get old too. And to be honest with you, right around here, they start to get old too. So I really need to put this like right here. So, and I'm gonna adjust these as see fit, but I think that's about good right there. So, 34 years old, you really don't need to be playing that much, especially if you're in a high contact position. So I'll be nicer right here at 29, just be like, But at 30 years old, 3-0 at a high position, and this should coincide with each position too. So a defensive end at 30 should not get the same regression as a Mike backer, or a tackle or guard should not get the same regression as a tight end or wide receiver, so on and so forth. So I'm really excited to see how this works out with the Falcons and this franchise that I'm running, because I've been waiting on something like this. Um, and I think what's the next slider I have? Gameplay sliders. I'm not gonna touch the draft class right now. I'm just gonna let that go. Um, let's see what we got. QB accuracy. I rarely touch these things. I did watch a video where someone did touch them and they explained it. I'm just like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Pass blocking. If you have a good offensive line, sure, but I'm not gonna touch these that much. So, but if your quarterback is trash, you're gonna feel like your quarterback's trash. So catching, same thing. Your wide receiver cannot catch, and he's not good. He's not going to be able to catch well. Run blocking. The better your offensive line is, the better they will run block. Fumbles. No one really does that. Pass defense reaction time. Let's see. I don't think I need to touch this because I haven't played yet, but I don't think I need to touch this. Pass coverage, we're going to leave this alone. Tackling as well. And this is user tackling, so they will break a lot of tackles. So the CPU breaks a whole lot of tackles. So we're going to keep this here. Pass coverage. That pass defense reaction time is crazy too. So I want to move this up to about 52 to 53 just to see. But I'm gonna kind of keep it there. CPU, skill, quarterback accuracy. And I kind of want to match everything here. So, you know what? I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch this one. I want to see how it goes for the first few weeks. What I will touch is down here. Injuries. I actually bumped this up because I want realistic things to happen. Injuries do happen in the NFL. I'm not going to bump this up to something crazy because everybody does start to get hurt after a while. So, but you need depth. So I'm going to leave it right here at 57, which is mid. I'm going to turn this fatigue up too because players do get tired in the NFL. Progressive fatigue is a real thing. I'm going to turn this up to about 70 for right now and just see how it goes. Minimum player threshold, speed threshold. I forget how this one goes. Sorry, I'm just kind of Googling something right now. Minimum player threshold. I ain't tripping, this is easy. Got 'em excited to meet me. Right now, I'm just going on blogs looking at what everybody say. Lower the speed threshold, the more separation, the faster players will get. So, yeah. So we're gonna kind of leave this one right here. The higher it is, the higher threshold is, the more that speed doesn't matter. So we're gonna actually bump this up to right here. Speed does kill, but it doesn't kill that much in the NFL. Pursuit angles and everything matter too. So let's go holding. We're gonna bump this up because good God, that happens in the NFL every play. They just don't call it. Offsides do happen. False starts do happen if you're like me and you're just trying to get the defense to jump off sides. Face masks do happen, and this happens a lot more than it should. So let's go here. You can't just bump the receiver to illegal contact as well, illegal blocking the back. So yeah, that happens too. Roughing the passer. I'm gonna be easy on that because that shit, you touch the quarterback a little bit and they will hit him. They'll throw it every time. But yeah, in my opinion, these are realistic sliders for right now, and I can adjust these as I see fit. The main thing is the fatigue and the injuries have to come on. So that is what I would run for right now. So, damn, Patriots got their ass blasted. So, Yeah, that's what I would do for mine. And you know, y'all let me know how that works out. It's been working out me for the past two Mads. I haven't tried on this Madden, but I would think by halfway through the season I'll be able to see exactly how everything is going. So y'all take it easy. Let me know how it goes. Peace.